Welcome to the Deeper Dive, the show that unpacks the why behind the market's what. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Christine. Happy New Year, and welcome to our first episode of 2026.
That's right, Christine. We're kicking off the new year by looking back at one of the most remarkable market stories from the end of 2025.
While many were winding down for the holidays,
Yeah?
one part of the market was, you could say, launching into orbit.
Literally, in some cases, it was an explosive move. We're talking about the entire aerospace and defense sector.
Right, and it wasn't just the quiet, steady climb of the big prime contractors. It was a full-blown, across-the-board surge that included the new guard of commercial space companies, all seeming to blast off at once.
Impressive. The performance was frankly staggering. I mean, you have broad sector ETFs like ITA, the iShares Aerospace and Defense Fund, that dramatically outperformed the S&P 500.
Right.
But then you zoom in on the individual names and the numbers become, well, they're eye-popping.
Oh, they were hard to miss. We saw satellite imagery and data companies, think Planet Labs, Viasat, posting gains of over 300%.
Wow.
And some were even approaching 400% for the year. This wasn't a minor trend.
No.
It was a major market event, a seismic shift in capital allocation.
So for our deeper dive today, the why is this. What powerful forces combined at the end of 2025 to create this perfect storm? Was it conflict? Was it innovation? Or just classic market mania? And the critical question for anyone with a portfolio looking at 2026.
Yes?
Is this the beginning of a new long-term reality or just a fleeting rally?
Well, to really get to the bottom of that, Alex,
Okay.
I think you have to see it as a three-stage rocket. Each stage provided a powerful and distinct thrust.
A three-stage rocket. I like that. Okay, take us through stage one.
So the first, and really the most foundational stage, is the shifting ground beneath our feet,
Right.
the global security environment.
The defense part of aerospace and defense. So the story starts not in space, but with conflict here on Earth.
Precisely. The latest data from SICRI, that's the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, is astonishing. They report that global military spending hit a record $2.7 trillion in 2024.
Okay.
But the key number is the growth, a 9% increase in real terms. That's the steepest annual jump we have seen in over 3 decades.
Wow. So this isn't just a routine budget top-up.
Not at all.
You're describing a fundamental policy reversal on a global scale, a move towards rearmament.
It is, and it's a direct consequence of sustained geopolitical tensions. The protracted war in Ukraine, for example, has forced Europe to rearm at a pace not seen since the Cold War. For the big prime contractors, your Lockheeds, your RTXs, your Northrop Grummans,
Right.
these translate directly into record-breaking multi-year order backlogs. It's a massive, almost predictable tailwind of government spending.
Okay, so that's a powerful baseline. Stage one is a massive sustained burn of government spending, a solid foundation. But that only explains half the equation. Those 400% gains sound like they came from something with a bit more explosive potential.
And that brings us to the second stage engine, the high-thrust ignition from the commercialization of space, with one specific event acting as the primary catalyst. In 2 words, SpaceX IPO.
Ah, the $800 billion gorilla in the room.
It's more like a gravitational force. I mean, the constant drumbeat of news in the second half of 25, all but confirming a 2026 public offering, with private valuations soaring towards that $800 billion mark.
Right.
And it just fundamentally altered the landscape. It was a moment of validation for Wall Street.
It declared that the orbital economy isn't a sci-fi dream anymore.
Exactly.
It's a tangible, investable, multi-trillion-dollar reality in the making.
Exactly. And investors started chasing that new reality. They saw the undeniable success of Starlink and started asking, okay, what's next? So capital piled into satellite imagery, communication providers, the launch companies like Rocket Lab,
The tools.
which are, essentially the picks and shovels of this new gold rush.
Which leads to the final booster. Even with those two powerful drivers,
Yeah.
you still need a mechanism to channel all that investor interest.
And that's our third stage, financial amplification from thematic investing. See, the rise of sector-specific ETFs made it incredibly easy for any investor,
Right.
from a retail trader to a massive pension fund, to place a broad bet on this entire trend.
So instead of trying to pick one risky winner, you can just buy an ETF like UFO for space or ITA for defense, and you get exposure to the whole basket.
And that creates a powerful feedback loop. Money flows into the ETF, the fund manager is forced to buy the underlying stocks. That pushes their prices up, which makes the ETF's performance look great,
Sure.
which in turn attracts even more investors. It's a financial accelerant, just pouring gasoline on the fire.
So, a perfect storm indeed, which brings us to the all-important question for 2026. Is this storm going to continue, or is it about to run out of energy? Christine, give me the bull case. Why does this continue to fly high?
Well, the bull case is pretty compelling. On the defense side, those huge government backlogs are locked in.
Locked in.
They represent years of guaranteed revenue. And on the space side, the SpaceX IPO itself, if it happens, would be one of the largest market debuts in history. The sheer volume of liquidity and excitement from that one event could easily fuel another wave of investment across the whole sector.
And beyond the IPO hype, the underlying growth in commercial space seems to be just getting started. I mean, we're talking satellite constellations, in-space manufacturing, maybe even tourism. The addressable market is immense. Pivoting, but what about the other side? A good analyst always looks at the risks.
And the bear case is just as real. First, and most obviously, valuations. After a 300 or 400% run-up,
Yeah.
these space stocks are priced for absolute perfection. Any hiccup, a launch failure, a delayed contract, could trigger a severe correction.
And there are also the physical world constraints, right? I mean, you can have all the orders in the world, but if you can't scale your factories and find enough skilled labor, you can't actually build and deliver.
That's a huge bottleneck. And finally, there's always geopolitical risk in reverse, however unlikely it seems right at this moment. Sudden, unexpected de-escalation of a major conflict could put downward pressure on those record-high defense budgets.
2026 will be all about how investors navigate that tension. It's a fascinating, complex picture, a true intersection of geopolitics, cutting-edge tech, and raw market psychology. Now, here's a question we'd like you to think about. As we stand on the cusp of what could be a new sustained supercycle for the aerospace and defense industry, investors are faced with a fundamental choice. Is this surge a clear and justified signal of a generational shift, a moment akin to the dawn of the internet or the AI revolution? Or is it a speculative bubble inflated by geopolitical fear and IPO hype? Put simply, is this the moment to invest for a generation, or is it the moment to take profits before gravity inevitably reasserts itself?